Welcome back to session 4 of vector spaces class. So in the last class, you have studied what's meant by inter and direct sum of subspaces, the external direct sum of subspaces, and also we have proved the if V is the internal direct sum of subspaces, then it is isomorphic to the external direct sum of subspaces. And also we have defined what's meant by a linear combination of vectors in a vector space, and what's meant by a linear dependent set, independent set, and spanning set of the vector space, and we have proved few results on the spanning set. And also we have taken few example wherein we are shown that the given set, the given vector space and the set A, which is a linearly independent or dependent. Okay, and also we have shown that in a vector space, if they are given vectors, if we have a given set of vectors, then either they are linearly independent or dependent. And dependent means some vector Vk is a linear combination of preceding ones. And also we have taken up one theorem. There we have shown that every finite dimensional vector space is a basis. In fact, we said every vector space is a basis. Okay, and also if we have shown that the number of linearly independent vectors is always less than or equal to the number of basis elements in a vector space, and also we said in a finite dimensional vector space any two bases of V have the same number of elements. Those are the results that we have discussed in the last class. So let us come to the results on this class. First we will have a definition. So we said V is a finite dimensional vector space. We said V is a finite dimensional vector space if it has a finite number of, if it is spanned by a finite set. The vector space V is said to be finite dimensional if it is spanned by the finite set. So then what is the dimension of the vector space? Then the dimension of the vector space is the number of basis elements present in any basis of V. So dimension of the vector space V is the number of basis elements present in any basis, because we have observed from the examples that there can be more than one set of basis elements for any vector space. Okay, so next we are going to prove one important theorem. It states if V is a finite dimensional vector space, and if V1, V2, etc. Vr, and if V1, V2, etc. Vr is a linearly independent subset of V, then this set can be extended to form a basis of V. Means if V is a finite dimensional vector space and if V1, V2, etc. Vr is a linearly independent subset of V, then this set can be extended to form a basis of V. Now let's prove this. So they were given this set is a linearly independent set. Now if this linearly independent set itself spans V, then there is nothing to prove because it forms a basis of V, and so there is nothing to prove. Okay, so let this set V1, V2, etc. Vr, if it spans V, then this set itself forms a basis and there is nothing to prove. So let S be the vectors V1, V2, etc. Vr. I add the other elements Vr plus 1 and so on up to Vn be the maximal linearly independent subset of V. Let V1, V2, etc. Vr plus 1 and so on Vn be the maximal linearly independent subset of V. How this possible? Because say suppose they were given V1, V2, etc. Vn is a linearly independent set. You choose a vector in V which does not belongs to span of this. Then you construct another set of, then if some vectors say Vr plus 1. If Vr plus 1 doesn't belongs to L of this linear span of this, then definitely the set V1, V2, etc. Vr, comma Vr plus 1 is also a linearly independent set. Next again choose another vector which is not in the linear span of this one. Again you add that element. So likewise we can add up, and at each stage we get a linearly independent set. That set S is taken to be the maximal linearly independent subset of V. This is the maximum. So if you add any extra element, that becomes linearly dependent. Okay. Now we show this forms a basis. We show S forms a basis of V. We show S forms a basis of V. So now, as this set already it is linearly independent, it is enough to show that this set S spans V. This set S spans V, that is L of S is equal to V. If you show L of S is equal to V, then the proof is finished. Okay. So for this you take some element V belongs to V, be any element, general arbitrary element. Then definitely if V belongs to V, then the set S dash containing V as well as the vectors V1, V2, etc. Vn is linearly dependent, because this is the, as I said, this is the maximal linearly independent set. Therefore if you add a single vector, this set becomes linearly dependent. By definition of a linearly dependent set, there exists scalars. Say alpha 1, etc. alpha n, such that the linear combination, say alpha into V plus alpha 1 into V1, etc. alpha n into Vn is equal to 0. You call this as number 1. Okay. This implies alpha into V can be written as minus alpha 1 V1 minus alpha 2 V2, etc. minus alpha n Vn. Now look here. Clearly alpha is not equal to 0, because see here alpha is not equal to 0. If alpha is equal to 0, what will happen? Then 1 gives, if alpha clearly alpha is not equal to 0. If alpha is equal to 0, then 1 gives what? Alpha 1 into V1 plus alpha 2 V2, etc. alpha n Vn is equal to 0. Since V1, V2, etc. Vn are linearly independent, what will happen? Each alpha is equal to 0. Okay. Thus alpha is 0, each alpha is 0 means this set S dash becomes linearly independent set. This is a contradiction, because we have assumed that S is the maximal linearly independent set. Therefore alpha cannot be 0. If alpha cannot be 0, then what will happen? We have an expression like alpha into V is equal to minus alpha 1 V1 minus alpha 2 V2, etc. minus alpha n Vn. So this implies what will happen? V is equal to, since alpha is not 0, alpha inverse exists because it is an element of F. Every non-zero element in a field has multiplicative inverse. So alpha inverse exists. This becomes minus alpha inverse into alpha 1 into V1 plus minus alpha inverse into alpha 2 into V2 and so on. What is the last element? Last element is minus alpha inverse into alpha n into Vn. Thus the element V been written as a linear combination of V1, V2, etc. Vn, means the element V belongs to V is a linear combination of elements of S. Therefore L of S is equal to what you can say? Therefore L of S is equal to V L of S is equal to V means S spans V. Already we have taken S to be linearly independent, therefore S forms a basis. Now S is an extension of the given linearly independent vectors, because R number of vectors we have taken, additionally we add n minus R number of elements. Therefore any linearly independent set can be extended to form a basis of V. Also note that if the dimension of the vector space is, say, n, if the dimension of the vector space is n, and if S is the set containing V1, V2, etc., Vn is linearly independent. Suppose dimension of V is n and S is the subset of V containing n number of linearly independent vectors. Definitely then S forms a basis, because dimension of V is n means any n number of vectors, any n number of linearly independent vectors forms a basis of V. So if the dimension of the vector space is n, then any set of n linearly independent vectors always forms a basis of V. Okay. So now we are going to prove another important theorem. So that theorem says any two finite dimensional vector spaces, any two finite dimensional vector spaces over a field F are isomorphic. Any two finite dimensional vector space over a field F are isomorphic if and only if they have the same dimension. So any two finite dimensional vector space over F are isomorphic if and only if they have the same dimension. Suppose, say, you take, say, V and W. Say let V and W be any two finite dimensional vector spaces over the field F. Let dimension of V is equal to n, and let V1, V2, etc. Vn be a basis of V, because dimension of V is equal to n means there are n number of basis elements. First, suppose V and W are isomorphic. You assume that V and W are isomorphic. What we have to show? Dimension of V as well as dimension of W are the same. So already we have taken dimension of V is n, therefore we need to show dimension of W is also n. Okay. For this, let T be a mapping from V to W such that T of V maps to W. Such that let T from V to W be a mapping such that T of V is equal to W, where V is an element of V and W is an element of W. Okay. So they were given that V and W are isomorphic, means this is a isomorphism. We have a isomorphism. So now this is isomorphism, and we show that T of V1, T of V2, etc. T of Vn is forms a basis of W. Therefore there are n number of basis elements. Therefore dimension of W also becomes n. Okay. We show that the image vectors T of V1, T of V2, etc. T of Vn forms a basis of W. For this, let's consider this. So first we show these vectors T of V1, T of V2, etc. T of Vn are linearly independent. Then we show that they span W. Okay. For this, you choose the linear combination, say summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha into T of Vi, means alpha 1 T of V1 plus alpha 2 T of V2, etc. alpha n T of Vn is equal to 0. Okay. We have written it in a summation notation. So this implies summation I is equal to 1 to n. So alpha into T of Vi means, since T is linear, that this can be written as T of alpha Vi is equal to 0. But since T is a linear transformation which is isomorphic, therefore 0 is T of 0. So this implies T of summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha Vi is equal to T of 0. So this implies, as T is an isomorphism means T is 1 1, therefore T of x is equal to T of y implies x is equal to y. Therefore summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha Vi is equal to 0 as T is 1 to 1. Now as v1, v2, etc. vn are linearly independent, therefore each alpha is equal to 0. Thus we have consider summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I t of vi is equal to 0, and we have shown that each of the scalar coefficients alpha I is equal to 0. Therefore what you can declare, therefore t of v1, t of v2, etc. t of vn is a linearly independent set. Therefore this forms linearly independent. Next, what we have to show? So we have to show that this t of v1, t of v2, etc. t of vn spans w. For this I will choose some element, arbitrary element, w belongs to w. Okay. Then if w belongs to w, as t is isomorphism, means it is as v and w are isomorphic, the mapping t is onto. Therefore as t is onto, by definition of onto mapping, there exists some x v belongs to v such that t of v is equal to w. Okay. Now w can be written as w is equal to t of v, means here summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I vi. So this is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n t of alpha I vi. This is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n, since t is linear, alpha I into t of vi, t of vi means, so thus we have written t of vi. Thus we have written the element w belongs to w as a linear combination of elements t of v1, t of v2, etc. t of vn. Therefore t of v1, t of v2, etc. t of vn forms a basis of w. If they forms a basis of w, means what? Since there are n number of elements, so dimension of w is also n. So what we have assumed? We have assumed that v and w are isomorphic, and we have shown that the dimension of v and the dimension of w are the same, which is n. Okay. Conversely, you conversely assume that dimension of v is same as dimension of w, which is n. Okay. And let v1, v2, etc. vn be a basis of v, and w1, w2, etc. wn be a basis of w. Okay. This is a basis of v and this is a basis of w, and you define a map t from v to w by t of v. T of v means t of alpha 1 v1, alpha 2 v2, etc. alpha n vn, because these are the basis elements and v can be written as a linear combination of basis elements. So this is equal to, by definition of a mapping, so what will happen? Alpha 1 into w1, t of v1 is w1 plus alpha 2 w2, etc. alpha n wn. So now we show t is a homomorphism. For this, what we have to take? You have to take any two elements in v, say x and y are any two elements in v. So x is an element in v, means it's a linear combination of basis elements alpha 1 v1, alpha 2 v2, etc. alpha n vn, and y is an element of v, means this is can be written as linear combination of beta 1 v1, beta 2 v2, etc. beta n vn, where each alpha and beta I are the elements of f because they are scalars. And you take alpha and beta be any scalars in f. Okay. We have taken x and y are elements in v, and we have taken alpha and beta are elements of f. And consider t of, so you consider t of alpha x plus beta y. Now t of alpha x plus beta y is what? T of alpha into x means alpha 1 v1, alpha 2 v2, etc. alpha n vn, and plus beta into s, this is equal to beta into beta 1 v1, beta 2 v2, etc. beta n vn, because y is this. So this is equal to t of, so I can write this as alpha into alpha 1 plus beta into beta 1 into v1, because I collect the coefficients of v1, v2 and so on. So alpha into alpha n plus beta into beta n into vn. So this is equal to alpha, what is this? T, this is looking like t of, say alpha 1 into v1, alpha 2 v2, etc. alpha n vn is what? So this is alpha 1 w1, alpha 2 w2, etc. alpha n wn. So instead of alphas, alpha i's, we have alpha into alpha 1 plus beta into beta 1 into w1, etc. alpha into alpha n plus beta into beta n into wn. So this is equal to alpha into alpha 1 into w1, etc. alpha into alpha n into wn, I'll take, plus the second term beta into beta 1 into W1, beta into beta 2 into W2, etc. beta into beta n into Wn. So this is equal to alpha into, I write the remaining terms. Alpha is common in first n terms, so I taken alpha is common. So the remaining term is alpha 1 W1, alpha 2 W2, etc. alpha n Wn. Again beta I will take as a common factor in the second n terms. So beta into beta 1 W1, beta 2 W2, etc. beta n Wn. So this is what? Alpha into, this is nothing but T of x, because alpha 1 W1, etc. they are the images of what? T of alpha 1 V1, alpha 2 V2, etc. alpha n Vn. This is the image of T of alpha 1 V1, alpha 2 V2, etc. alpha n into Vn, but that is nothing but x. So alpha into T of x plus beta into T of y. Therefore we have shown that T of alpha x plus beta y is T alpha into T of x plus beta into T of y. Therefore T is a homomorphism. Next is T is 1 1. T is 1 1. Now for this it is enough to show that kernel of T is 0. Kernel of T is 0. So kernel of T is 0. Now let V belongs to kernel of T. Now V belongs to kernel of T means V belongs to null space of T. Then T of V is equal to 0. T of V is equal to 0, where 0 is an element of the image space W. Now this implies T of V means what? Alpha 1 V1, alpha 2 V2, etc. alpha n Vn is equal to 0. So since T is linear, alpha 1 into T of V1, alpha 2 into T of V2, etc. alpha n into T of Vn is equal to 0. This implies alpha 1 into T of V1 is what? W1, T of V2 is W2. So alpha 1 W1, alpha 2 W2, etc. alpha n Wn is equal to 0. This implies alpha is equal to 0 because we have assumed that W1, W2, etc. Wn are basis of W means they are linearly independent. Therefore alpha is equal to 0 means what? V is written as a linear combination of alpha i's, and these alpha i's are 0 means what? V itself is 0. V itself is 0. But V is taken to be arbitrary element of kernel of T. V is taken to be arbitrary element of kernel of T, and we have shown that that element itself is 0 means kernel of T contains only 0 vector, and so T is 1 to 1. Next remaining thing is T, we need to show T is onto. T is onto. T is onto means we will take some vector in the image space codomain. Say let y belongs to W. Then y can be written as what? Since W1, W2, etc. Wn are the basis elements, y can be written as a linear combination of basis elements beta 1 W1, beta 2 W2, etc. beta n Wn. So this is equal to T of beta 1 V1, you know that, T beta 2 V2, etc. beta n Vn. So this is equal to T of x, where x is nothing but beta 1 V1, beta 2 V2, where it lies? It lies in V. X is the summation, I is equal to 1 to n, beta I belongs to V. Thus for y belongs to W, thus for y belongs to the codomain, there exists element in the domain space, that is x belongs to V, such that T of x is equal to y. Therefore by definition of ontoness, T is onto. Now we have shown T is an isomorphism, and as well as T is 1 1 and onto. Thus T is an isomorphism of V onto W. T is an isomorphism of V onto W means V and W are isomorphic to each other. T and V and W are isomorphic to each other. Okay. Okay. Next we consider one example. So here the example is, show that the set of all real valued continuous functions, y is equal to f of x, satisfying the differential equation d cube y by dx cube plus 6 times d square y by dx square plus 11 into dy by dx plus 6y is equal to 0 is a vector space over R. Find a basis of this. Means we have to show that the set of all solutions of the differential equation, this differential equations is a vector space. The set of solutions of this differential equation is a vector space, and we need to find a basis for this vector space. Okay, so for this, look here, this is looking a different and interesting example. So we know that if V is the set of all real valued functions from R to R, if V is the set of all real valued functions from R to R, such that such that F is continuous, such that V is the set of all continuous real valued function from R to R, then definitely this is a vector space over R. Under the operations, what are the operations we consider here? Sum of unit of functions f plus g of x is f of x plus g of x, and alpha into f of x is alpha times f of x. With respect to these two operations, V, the set of real valued continuous functions, forms a vector space. Okay, here the solution is nothing but, here W is the solution, is say here we need to show that the solutions of these differential equations is a vector space over R. Therefore, the solution set, say if we denote it by W, then W is definitely contained in this, because it is the solution. It is looking like it is a real valued function as well as continuous. Therefore, what will happen? The solution set W is definitely a subset of V. We will show that solution set W is a subspace of V, so that W becomes a vector space. W becomes a vector space. So for this, look here, we taken W as set of all F belongs to V, such that F is a solution of the given differential equation. Now the given differential equation can be written as d cube plus 6d square plus 11d plus 6 into y is equal to 0. This you know, where d is, what is d? D is d by dx, where d is d by dx. So the auxiliary equation is m cube plus 6m square plus 11m into 6 is equal to 0. Therefore the roots are, so it can be factors like this, m plus 1 into m plus 2 into m plus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore the roots are m is equal to minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. Therefore the solutions are what? E power of minus x. Therefore the general solution, you know how to write this, y is equal to a into e power of minus x, b into e power of minus 2x plus c into e power of minus 3x. Or in other words, the solutions are e power of minus x, e power of minus 2x, e power of minus 3x. And we know that the linear combination of any solution, of a given differential equation is again a solution, because if f and g are solutions, then you know that f plus g is also a solution, f minus g is also a solution, alpha into f is also a solution. Therefore W forms as linear combination of these against a solution. Therefore W forms a subspace of V, and so W itself is a vector space, because linear combination means what you can take. If x and y are solutions of these differential equations, definitely alpha x plus beta y, or if f and g are solution, alpha into f plus beta into g is also a solution, means that element belongs to W, because W is considered as a set containing the solutions of the given differential equation. Therefore it is the W is a subspace of V. If W is a subspace of V, then W itself is a vector space. Thus we have shown W is a vector space. Now let us find the basis of this vector space W. So let S to be the set containing the solutions e power of minus x, e power of minus 2x, e power of minus 3x. Then definitely L of S spans W, because set of linear combination of elements of S again a solution. Therefore if you take any solution of a differential equation, that definitely will be a linear combination of these three solutions only. Therefore L of S is equal to W, or S spans W. Therefore it remains to show that S is linearly independent. How to show linearly independent? So for this you consider the linear combination, say a into e power of minus x plus b into e power of minus 2x plus c into e power of minus 3x is equal to 0. Now this implies if we differentiate once, it becomes minus a into e power of minus x minus 2b into e power of minus 2x minus 3c into e power of minus 3x is equal to 0. Again you differentiate this. This implies a into e power of minus x plus 4b into e power of minus 2x plus 9c into e power of minus 3x is equal to 0. Therefore, we get three equations, system of equations. So you know that this system of equations can be written in the matrix form. So for this, I will put x is equal to 0 and consider the above system of equations in the matrix form. So the matrix form is means coefficients. I write 1 1 1 minus 1 minus 2 minus 3 into 1 4 9 into ABC is equal to 0. You call this matrix by M. This implies M into the column vector ABC is equal to 0. Now we can see that the determinant of this matrix M is minus 2, which is non-zero. The determinant of M is minus 2, which is non-zero, means definitely M inverse exists. M inverse exists means what will happen? You can multiply throughout by M inverse. If you multiply throughout by M inverse, what will happen? This becomes ABC is equal to 0. 0 into M inverse is 0. Therefore, ABC column vector ABC is equal to 0 means what will happen? A is equal to B is equal to C is equal to 0. Therefore, the linear combination we have considered a into e power of minus x plus b into e power of minus 2x plus c into e power of minus 3x is equal to 0, and we have shown that all the coefficients a, b and c are 0. Therefore, e power of minus x, e power of minus 2x, e power of minus 3x, the set containing these elements is linearly independent. Already S is basis, now it is linearly independent. Therefore, S forms a basis of W. Means we have find out the basis of the solution set W. We find the basis for the solution set of the given differential equation, which is W. Okay. Next, let us take up another result. So in this theorem, we are going to show that every n-dimensional vector space Vf, every n-dimensional vector space Vf is isomorphic to Fn, isomorphic to Fn for some n, for some n. So let the dimension of the vector space be n, and let v1, v2, etc. vn be a basis of this vector space V. These are the basis, means any vector v in V can be written as a linear combination. V is equal to alpha 1 v1 plus alpha 2 v2 etc. alpha n vn, that I written in a summation notation. V is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I vi, where alpha is belongs to f. Now the ordered n tuple, this ordered n tuple, the ordered n tuple alpha 1, alpha 2 etc. alpha n definitely lies in Fn. For each alpha I belongs to Fn, Fn contains the n tuple of elements of F. You know this. I'll define a mapping T from V to Fn. I'll define a mapping T from V to Fn by T of V is equal to T of V, means summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I Vi. This is equal to, I'll write by alpha 1 comma alpha 2 etc. alpha n, means the n tuple of the coefficients of the linear combination. Okay. Now we show this mapping T is homomorphism 1 1 and 2. Okay. So first let us take up this. T is a homomorphism. T is a homomorphism. For this I taken any two elements of V, so that x and y are any two elements of V. If x and y are two elements of V, means they can be written as summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I Vi, and y can be written as summation I is equal to 1 to n beta I Vi, where alpha and beta are elements of F. Now we consider T of alpha x plus beta y. So T of alpha into x means this is the value, and beta into T of y this is y means this is the value. So this is equal to T of summation I is equal to 1 to n. So I'll write this as the above term as alpha into alpha I plus beta into beta I into Vi. I can write like this. So this is equal to what will happen according to our definition of T. This is these are the scalars. So I'll write alpha into alpha 1 plus beta into beta 1 comma alpha into alpha 2 plus beta into beta 2 etc. alpha into alpha n plus beta into beta n. So this is equal to alpha into alpha 1 comma alpha into alpha 2 etc. alpha into alpha n plus beta into beta 1 beta into beta 2 etc. beta into beta n. So alpha I taken in the first term as a common factor, alpha into alpha 1 alpha 2 etc. alpha n plus beta into beta 1 beta 2 etc. beta n. So this is what alpha into, this is nothing but t of summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I vi, the first term, and the second term is beta times t of summation I is equal to 1 to n beta I vi. So this is equal to alpha into, this term is nothing but x plus this term is nothing but y. Therefore t of alpha x plus beta y is what? Alpha into t of x plus beta into t of y. Therefore t is a homomorphism. Therefore t is a homomorphism. Next we show that t is 1 1. So t is 1 1. Suppose t of x is equal to t of y. This implies t of x is summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I vi, that's equal to t of summation I is equal to 1 to n beta I vi. So this is equal to, this implies what? T of this one means alpha 1 comma alpha 2 etc. alpha n. This is equal to beta 1 beta 2 etc. beta n. This implies ab is the tuple ab is equal to cd implies a is equal to c, b is equal to d. Likewise this implies each alpha is must be equal to beta I, means alpha 1 is equal to beta 1, alpha 2 is equal to beta 2 etc. alpha n is equal to beta n, means this holds for each I. This holds for each I means the linear combination summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I vi same as summation I is equal to 1 to n beta I vi. Now this is nothing but x, this is nothing but y. Therefore we have assumed that t of x is equal to t of y, and we have shown that x is equal to y. Therefore t is 1 1. T is 1 1. So now we show t is onto. So we consider some element in the image space which is fn. So let alpha 1 comma alpha 2 etc. alpha n belongs to fn. If alpha 1 alpha 2 etc. alpha n belongs to fn means each of these elements alpha is belongs to f. So and if each of these alpha is belongs to f means the linear combination of using these alpha is definitely belongs to v, means summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I vi is an element of v, such that t of this element summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I vi, by definition of t it is the element alpha 1 alpha 2 etc. alpha n. Thus we have chosen the element alpha 1 alpha 2 etc. alpha n in fn, and we have shown that that element is the image of the element summation I is equal to 1 to n alpha I into vi, which is an element of v. Therefore by definition t is onto. Thus t is an isomorphism of v onto fn. T is an isomorphism of v onto fn means v is isomorphic to fn. Okay, every n-dimensional vector space v is isomorphic to fn. Okay, thank you.